An inspiring story of weight loss here today on the Health in the Real World podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Health in the Real World podcast brought to you by My Core Balance. What do you think your body would look and feel like if you continued to move like you did when you were a kid, before fitness became about treadmills and calories? There is a better way, and now you found it. MyCoreBalance.com. Type in promo code podcast and get 10% off of your monthly membership. Well, today we are talking with Danielle Gentry, who used to be a client of mine and since then has decided to venture into the realm of health coaching. So let's go on over to that interview right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Health in the Real World, sponsored by My Core Balance. We're here today with Danielle Gentry, who is a former client of mine, and now she is a health coach on her own. And recently, I got reconnected with Danielle because she posted some really inspiring pictures on Facebook of her journey and just wanted to bring her on today. So Danielle, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I just posted, I think a couple months ago. Yeah, 1 or 2 months ago. And I have been on a health journey for a number of years. I guess is really what it comes down to. So you just want me to start from the beginning?
Yeah. Go for it. I think what would be really helpful is, because I think most people, if you ask them, would say like, oh yeah, I have about 20 pounds to lose, right?
Yeah.
And some people say it in a way that like, oh yeah, it's just 20 pounds, as if it would be easy, right? I know it's not easy at all. How did you wind up in that situation? How did you make a decision to change it? And then what did you do? And I'm really interested in very practical and then also mindset changes. So wherever you want to go from there.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. Let's give this a try. All right. Well, first of all, to give you a description like of myself, and it was interesting that you said, 20 pounds overweight, because with the clients that I have been that have been coming to me, it's really, if they all could see each other, that would be interesting, because everyone who's about my age, and I'm 5'4", we all had about the same amount of weight to lose. That there just happens to be like this slice of people. And for myself personally, 5'4", I had 30 pounds to lose. I was 160, and that's a very unhealthy BMI. And it just seems to be like many of us are right about there. They're either in the 20 or 30 pound range. And for myself, I have been increasing overweight, I think 20 maybe plus years. Like the last time I weighed what I weigh now was my second year out of high school.
Wow.
So sophomore in college. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know. It's awesome. And then also I'll talk about like why it is somewhat difficult. So I, got married, had a child, thought I'd lose that baby weight. And part of my bio that I posted was, yeah, I hadn't lost that extra baby weight 21 years later. Which, is tough. And I actually remember asking, like going to one of the baby appointments and going, when will the rest of the weight drop off? And they're like, oh, probably 10 years. I'm like, that's the
Oh,
wrong answer.
wow.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, let's fast forward just a bit. But what I really want people to hear about that part of it is that's how long my brain has accepted and understood where my body was. And that comes into play as I move through my weight loss. Um, so so this program was going around. It had hit a colleague of mine in November, and then I just watched her from across the staff lunch table, and I was like, skeptical at first, going, okay, well, everyone's crazy about diets, so let's just see how this one works, right? So I'm watching her, and it's November, and I know that Christmas is gonna hit. I'm like, that's no easy time frame either.
Right.
So December comes through and she's still losing weight. January hits and we return to school, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And she just had her second kid, which is why she was wanting the diet or weight loss program. And I looked at her and I said, I don't even care what you're doing. I go, whatever it is, I want that.
That's great.
So, I mean, but I watched her. I asked her questions, She did say to me, the one imparting thing she said to me, she goes, I just want you to make sure you understand this is not a diet, it is a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And I that kind of made me sit up straight. I was like, oh, okay then. Um, I'll have to look into this, right? I'll have to look into that more. And let's see, that was January. By February, I contacted her coach, and by March, I had started.
And that's this
So
year. That was
that was
2020.
this year, yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I know. So I started, and I started 2 weeks before Friday the 13th, March. And it was going okay because there was a system, there was a structure. I I was able to get the rhythm and the routine, and that's super important when you're first
Yeah.
starting out. And it is a basic um, keto version of a weight loss program. So anyone doing any kind of keto work knows that in your first week, I mean, you are crazy shedding weight, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just falling off. And I have never ever been on a diet before. I mean, no plan where I um, was on it for like, let's just say more than 3 weeks.
Wow.
Okay. So yeah. So
So so you've been on this. So you started in March. Right now it's August, but you made your post, you said 2 months ago. Is that right?
I
June-ish?
let's see.
So you
Yes,
lost
I
like
think
30, you lost 30 pounds in like 3 months?
yes.
That's
I, it,
incredible.
I mean, exactly. I don't really remember, but I lost most of the weight. I lost, well, I guess that's half the weight, 18 pounds. Yeah, I lost 18 pounds in about 2 months, and then the rest the following month.
Wow.
Um, but the first week was just amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Wow. It's
yeah,
incredible.
it is incredible. You average zero point 0.5 to um, 2 pounds a week,
Yep.
depending on the condition of your body,
Yep.
moving into the program.
Right.
So
So
that
tell me a little bit about the program. What specifically were there supplements? Were you just doing whole foods?
no, it's a combination. It's a combination of whole foods plus prepared food, I guess you will say. Um, and it's a combination of that plus timed eating,
Hmm.
um, water consumption, and um, actually this was one of the reasons why I did really do this. I mean, it's a little, you'll have to plug your ears, but it was because you didn't have to work out in the beginning. I was like,
Hey,
okay, yeah, okay. However, I have to say, what what that does for you is it lifts one of your, I don't know, like one of your battles that you're having in your head, right? I mean,
Right.
it's weight loss, and then you have this desire to have your body look a certain way. Well, there is something to be said that when you have weight to lose, that the body is just, if it could deal with one thing at a time,
Yes.
the success rate is just so much better. Because I have a client actually right now who was working out in the gym, and all she wanted to lose was like 12 to 15 pounds.
Hmm.
And she says to me, Danielle, I just can't believe I am losing the weight I'm losing. And when I was working out as hard as I was working out and not losing the weight. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, once you get really your hormones in balance with your insulin level, with your just getting your metabolism
Yeah.
dialed in and having
Definitely.
it work for you, um, the weight loss piece comes, and then your mind just mentally wraps around, oh yeah, I'm dropping it, and then it just does something for you. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but you're ready to work out once you start, and
Yes.
that is when
That's that's exactly
your
what it is.
job
Yeah.
becomes so much easier,
It
right?
does, absolutely. And you know what's interesting is it when you're trying to work out to lose weight, I think that's the worst reason to lose. I think that's the
Mm,
worst reason to work out because I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you prepare with the nutrition, and that
yes.
gets you to the point where you're like, wow, I feel good. I
Yeah.
feel like moving because our body was meant to move. And I really think like maybe the number four reason for working out is like to maintain a healthy weight.
Right. No,
But
that's
yeah,
exactly where I am.
yeah,
Now I'm rolling in, starting to ramp up my
yeah,
my movement, my activity level. Yeah.
yeah. And so it's so funny when people first, I mean, you've worked out with me for
Yeah.
several years, so you know that I tend to
Yep.
start very light, extremely light, and people, the feedback I get from people is like, is
Not
this it?
even.
This
Hmm.
isn't going to burn my calories. And I say, yeah, we're not trying to burn your calories. You need to start eating better so that you can shed some weight, so that you can come in here and work
Yeah.
out to feel better, to move better. Because with the body, you know, it's all biomechanics. With your body and your knee doing that, and your hip is here, you're not going to be squatting or deadlifting because you're just going to hurt your back, right? So
Right.
the story I always tell is my brother and I, maybe 6 or 8 years ago, we were working out together a couple days a week for almost a year, probably 10 or 11 months. And he was a little bit overweight and I was a little bit underweight. And over that year, it was almost the only workouts that we did was with each other. And he lost weight and I gained weight and we leveled out and we were about the same
Mm,
by the end. So I
wow.
say, so the workout didn't make me gain weight. The workout didn't make him lose weight. It was all how we were eating differently. So
Yeah.
interesting. So if
That
you were
is
to say one thing, what's your number one thing that you would say really made the difference? And you're like, all right, I'm going after this. Was it like your green drinks, your water? Was it more of the mental shift? What would you say was your one like
okay.
domino moment?
Um, I have to say, so it can't, it's not going to be one, it's going to be two.
That's fine. Two is
Because
good.
I have said from the very beginning of this weight loss plan, that even if I quit tomorrow, there are two things I would not give up doing.
Mm,
One is eating every 2 hours, and two is drinking um, half my body weight in volume. So it would be those two things,
of
because
water. So if you weigh 160 pounds when you started, you would eat
drink
or you would drink
80, yeah,
80 ounces of water a day.
80 ounces. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
nice.
And
Say those one more time. Eating.
eating every 2 hours and drinking half your body weight in volume. Is that right? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. If you weigh 160, you need to be drinking 80 ounces. If
nice,
you weigh 120, 60 ounces.
nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
those are the
Very
two.
cool. That's it. Yeah. So I like how you phrase that. Even if I quit tomorrow,
Oh, yeah.
these are the two things, and those are the two things that really make it more of a lifestyle. That like
Absolutely.
I can keep this forever. It's easy.
Right. Well, because here's what I learned. We call those, so here in the weight loss program, we call them non-scale victories, because right, you get married to the scale for a while in the beginning, and you think that that's a metric that you feel is, I need that information. It's got to give me feedback. And the reality is, it's a scale,
Yep.
and it is going to give you information. It's certainly not giving you the information of the whole body, everything of everything. It's giving you your fluctuation up and down throughout the week, because that's what it does. Um, but your weight that's what it does too. It fluctuates. So
Right.
people have to be super careful about how often, you make yourself crazy. I did that, made myself crazy. My coach said, I want you to put the scale away, and you're only going to measure once a week.
Nice.
And so I did, and that was super helpful, because then I just see my delta, right? I
Right.
don't watch the stock market go up and down and make myself absolutely
Right.
nuts.
Right.
So yeah, so that was super helpful. I'm sorry, I got off track. I was going to say something. Uh, is it about eating? Oh well, ask me another question.
Okay. It'll
It'll
come
come
back.
back.
As far as, so now you're a health coach.
Hmm.
What is your process, and how do you get someone to that point that you were at, where you were saying things to yourself like, even if I quit tomorrow, I'm going to keep these
Hmm.
two things going? And how do you convey, like, take what's in your brain and in your whole body now and get them to start?
Well, the reality is you don't get anyone to do anything they don't want to do, right? That's the tough part. Um, what I work with when people do come to me is why. What's your why? Why do you want to do this? Your why has to be mean more to you than my desire to help you. Number one, I cannot be wanting you to want this more than you want it yourself,
Yep. Yep.
right? Because then I'm just pulling you along, and it's no fun.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know what the perfect storm is to make people, to help them arrive at that place, except to understand their why. I know when I signed up to do it, I was so ready. I was done. I think I spent an entire year waking up every day with negative self talk about my weight.
Mm.
And I recall one day saying something out loud, and my daughter heard me, and she goes, "Why don't you just stop complaining about it and do something about it?" And I was like, that kind of, damn, well, yeah, I mean, right? Okay, then.
There you go. Yeah.
So I stopped complaining about it because I didn't have a plan yet. That took a while.
Right.
But I've had people with some, like, whys that you would have thought are going to land you on this program, and then they back out.
Mm.
So, I mean, I think it's super truthful what I said, in terms of you can't make anyone, you know,
Yeah.
do
I
it.
agree.
I think they need to be inspired. I mean, much like the way I was, which is why I also posted, is because it did bring on, some people. They got inspired. They saw what what happened for me, and yes, it can happen for you. The only other thing I do have to say, like, about those two things, I would still do, even if I didn't, wasn't a coach or wasn't on the plan. Um, the other thing is, I say, I don't know why I didn't start this sooner,
Hmm.
because, and I don't know what it's like for a guy, obviously, but for a woman to obtain her weight goal, it empowering is an understatement. It's an understatement. It's what you gain, and I think that's maybe what I was talking about when I lost my train of thought. It was, they're called non-scale victories.
Hmm.
Non-scale victories are what you gain when you lose the weight and you shed the fat, because this this keto process burns all your stored fat. So I'm not a dietitian. I'm just a coach for this program. And from what I know and have learned is that you burn your glycogen stores first. That's what happens in the first 3 days. Then you kick yourself into fat burn. And it's the fat burn that takes you the rest of the way for your weight loss journey. And you get from that, you get appetite suppressant, you get more energy. I mean, and it's a very, the way they've formulated this fat burn process is it's super gentle, super mild, um, feeding, constantly feeding yourself every 2 hours, reducing those insulin spikes, and really maintaining your metabolic process. I have, these are the things that I've gained and lost. So I've lost um, the hangry moments,
Mm.
right? I have far less of those. I used to be a 4 o'clock crasher where, I mean, seriously, I could just put my head down and I could be out. I don't have that anymore. And because you also are off of salt and sugar, which I think is like, across the board, any dietitian would tell you, yeah, it
Yep.
might want to be the first two things you cut out, right?
Yep. Yep.
The inflammation from head to toe, so reduced, if not gone.
Yeah.
And like one of the best things I love for people to do is to take a baseline, right? I mean, not just those before and after pictures, but for sure. I mean, and trust me, I was that person. I was like, my before pictures are just so pathetic. I'm all pouty. I'm like so upset, right? Um, but when you take that baseline and you go from head to toe and you have those pictures too, you really see concretely where you were
Hmm.
and what the program has given you. So, I mean, like I sleep better at night. Um, my my self-esteem is just boosted because I know inside I'm a healthier weight. My BMI is really good. I actually incidentally had like a whole blood workup panel. It was not on purpose. It was an accident. Um, more than halfway through the program. So I was kind of thrilled about that because I got my results
Yeah.
back and,
Wow,
you
that's
know,
cool.
yeah, exactly. A1C was good, cholesterol was good,
Nice.
like everything was good. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
it's a good
Good.
measurement.
Yeah, all the results kind of come together, right? You do
Yeah,
the right thing and your blood looks good, your energy's good, and your weight is good, and
right,
easy
right,
peasy. Yeah.
right, right.
Very
It's
cool.
confirmation for me that, okay, the diet's not hurting me, right? Because
Right.
there's people, skeptics. Oh,
Right.
it's, could be,
I
you're
always
probably,
think that's funny, right? Where you're probably eating a ton of vegetables, and you had people saying
oh,
like, "Really? Are you really doing that?"
you're gonna love this conversation.
Yes.
Can I just speak about that for a second?
Yes.
So, so I do eat whole foods. There is a combination of that too. And my whole foods meal is amazing. It's amazing. So I know for all of the time I've been with you, you are like, you gotta eat this massive amount of vegetables. Like,
Right.
how do you do that? How do you do that? Well, okay, so I am 3 healthy servings of vegetables
Nice.
plus 5, 6, or 7 ounces of protein, depending on what kind of protein you're eating,
Nice.
and then a healthy fat, right? That's like I think every
Perfect.
nutrition, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But here's the thing. So my husband asked me one day and he goes, "Wow, that's an awful when you first start making that much food,
It's a lot of
your plate is heavy."
fun.
Like you're like, "Whoa." At first I was calling my coach and I'm like, "Do I have to eat it all?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes,
Yeah.
"Before the day's over too. So
Yeah.
figure it out."
Yeah. And you'll feel so much better, right? I mean, yeah, it's amazing.
So here's the thing. So my husband asked me, he goes, "What, don't you feel stuffed? Don't you feel?" And I'm like, "Wow, that brought me to no,
Right.
honestly, I
Right.
don't feel stuffed. What I feel is satiated.
Yes. Big difference.
Huge,
Yeah.
huge. No swelling,
Yep.
no bloating, no fatigue, no like trying to digest that food that's just not happening.
Right.
none of that. But when I eat, and it's all dialed into those 3 healthy servings of vegetables. If I don't eat that much, I don't the right word, how that many servings,
Yeah.
um, I will actually be hungry.
Yep. Yep. It's so funny how, going back to the difference between satiety and just being stuffed.
Right?
People will, I mean,
Don't know.
imagine like you'll still eat. If you're stuffed like beyond belief, but you don't feel satiated, you'll still eat. You feel like this, this immense stretching of your stomach, and you're like, geez, this is just like stretching, stretching, stretching. Um,
Right, right.
but you still want more because there's
You're
no
not getting satisfied.
nutrient, right? There's no nutrients. There's no,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. Cool.
So,
So yeah,
yeah, go
go
ahead.
for it.
Well, so 2 things happened as well. Oh, are we at 1:30 already?
We are.
Wow. Okay, well, just
We can
super
wrap it
quick
up. That's okay. Quick.
so
Yeah.
people will know that you do this even when you're having a birthday, even when your daughter's graduating, even when it's your husband's birthday and it's Father's Day and it's Mother's Day, you do this even when all those things are going on because people always give the what if, right? and
Right.
and we just lock ourselves in our head with this huge thing that it's supposed to be, like it's
Right.
supposed to be really hard and really difficult, and oh, I'm going to be ashamed or embarrassed if I bring my food to this party or something. And I swear, the minute you do it just one time and
Yep.
you do it again and again, and it's no big deal. It's
Yep.
no big deal. And if you want to come off fat burn, which is just how we look at it, we look at it as like, you're in fat burn or you're out of fat
Right.
burn. It's 2 choices.
Right. And it's not
And
good or bad. You're not a
no,
bad,
no,
right?
it's a
There's no
choice.
guilt. Yeah.
There's no guilt. But when I celebrated my birthday with 2 cupcakes,
Yeah.
brownies, cake, the next day,
Hangover.
yes,
Yeah.
I saw the difference. Yeah.
And this is what I tell people when they are transitioning to a healthy diet is I say, don't try to do it all at once. But once you're on the other side and you start eating some normal American food, you are not going to want to continue down that road because you feel horrible. It feels
Yeah.
like it literally feels like an alcoholic's hangover
Oh,
sometimes, right?
yeah.
You just feel like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Oh,
Yeah. And
yeah.
to be honest with you, it wasn't the next day, which I found very interesting.
Oh, it was two
It
days
was
later.
2 days later, and I had the worst night's sleep.
Yep.
My skin was itchy, and because I had been on plan for so long, right? I had
Right.
been on plan from March to May. My birthday hit in May, and
Yep.
then I decided, oh no, my birthday, I'm gonna do it, right? Uh,
That's a good amount of time to be very disciplined, and then you get to
right,
see
right. The
really
difference.
what was going on with your body. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
totally.
So, okay, sounds like you have to wrap it up. So, somebody who's watching this wants to get more information about what you do. How can they find out more?
So you can contact me through Messenger. I'm Danielle. Oh gosh, I don't even know what my Facebook is. Well, you can hit me on my email
I will find out and I'll put it, it'll be at the bottom of
in
the
the
screen
comments.
right
You
here.
can hit
Yeah.
my email, danielle.gentry@comcast.net.
Gentry. Gentry, right?
Gentry. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, Danielle. Well, thank you for joining me in I'm doing, it's called Health in the Real World podcast. So
Oh, thank
just
you.
talking to real people about it. But thank you so much, Danielle Gentry, about healthy eating.